The story starts when the world and man were first created. God had some help, not in the creation itself, but more like an advisor from the most precious of angels. His name was Morpheus, and he was God's right hand. Morpheus was the highest ranking among the angels and was always involved in God's work of creating earth and everything in it. But when God created Adam and Eve, he did it in secret, without Morpheus knowing, so it can be said that humans are God's creation in full. When God revealed his work to the other angels, Morpheus felt hurt. He didn't understand why God would create something without him. God knew his heart and decided that it was better for him not to know the art behind man's creation. Days passed, and Morpheus could not accept being denied such an extraordinary act of creation. Fury and sorrow ate away at him. Little by little, he retreated from God's side and studied the human body and soul to understand how the two humans were created. He understood the basics, and when God was busy with other details of the universe, he tried to create his own humans. His attempt failed miserably. Instead of a perfectly beautiful human being, Morpheus created a hideous, deformed creature with no heart and an imperfect soul. This creature couldn't understand the world around him and was prone to destroy everything in its path. It was then that the first demon was created, from Morpheus' envy and arrogance, from his belief that he could create anything as good or even better than God. Morpheus hid the creature so God wouldn't see it and punish him. But God saw the broken trees, the burned grass, and asked Morpheus what happened. Morpheus lied and said that some younger angels were playing and by mistake cast too much energy in the direction of the trees, causing them to burn. But God could not be fooled. He knew that no angels of his possessed such destructive powers, and that no good energy could affect nature in such a bad way. God became aggrieved with his highest rank angel and thundered at him. Morpheus, what did you do? Father, I'm sorry you didn't trust me enough to let me assist you in creating human beings. I trusted you, Morpheus, but you are an ambitious, powerful angel, and some temptations should be kept away from you. Humans are gentle creatures and cannot be the subject of uncontrolled power. But Father, I was just curious how you did it. And you wanted to play me and create your own humans? Oh, poor Morpheus, how little you understand from what we've created together. Father, I don't understand. The art of creation is about giving away a part of yourself, not taking pride in the process. Creation, once it leaves our hands, becomes independent in itself and you can no longer control it. You see, you cannot just free any source of power out there without giving it the ability to auto-control itself, with a heart and a mind of its own. But Father, I gave my creation a heart of its own. I failed to create it as beautifully as your humans, though because you never taught me how. It was not your duty to create anything like it. Your creature has an empty heart and no mind of its own. You created it out of ambition, and it took the form of your own heart and soul. Is this what you didn't understand? Look at your creation, Morpheus. It reflects your heart. You lost your love for a common purpose. You choose to be your own God and created the universe of beasts. It was then that the light from Morpheus' eyes disappeared, and the dark shadow replaced it. His eyes could no longer sustain God's light, so he covered them with his hands. He lost his ability to see God's face at the same time he lost his divinity. His golden wings fell off and the earth gravitation pulled him in. He could no longer hear God's voice calling him. He became blind and deaf to everything divine and landed on a deserted island with only one hideous companion, a companion that could bring him no consolation because it had no mind of its own and could only act to the environment. He hit the poor beast until he killed it. He cried and called God's name in despair, but dark clouds gathered above the island to finalize the eternal separation between him and God's kingdom. He spent months like a mad orphan, left by his father and deserted by his fellow angels. His heart became dark with sorrow and mad with fury. Everything good and divine in him died until he was so empty that he could feel nothing. He tried to commit suicide, but nothing on that island seemed to be able to kill him. So one day, he decided that he would punish God for the humiliation. This was a small extract from the Shadows of Auldham. I invite you to discover the story behind the Shadows of Auldham, and please do send me your comments. Until then, bye bye.